Europe on collision course with US over Venezuela elections. However, earlier this year, the bloc dropped its recognition of Maduro's opponent, Juan Guaidó, as the legitimate president, placing it at odds with the US, who still recognize Guaidó. In some corners of the US, this has caused concern that by sending a delegation to the country for the first time since 2006, the EU will lend legitimacy to a process that will ultimately be won by Maduro, a strongman leader often described as a dictator. Andres Oppenheimer wrote in the Miami Herald last week that for the past 16 years, the EU had refused to send electoral observation missions to Venezuela, mainly because it considered, rightly, that elections there were a sham. He concludes that on election night, the EU mission will probably announce that there were no major irregularities, and an ecstatic Maduro will claim that he won a clean election. And several months later, when the EU mission puts out its final report looking at the entire election process and concluding that it wasn't a fair race, the election will be long forgotten.
Why would the EU be willing to do this and risk the ire of its most important ally? First, Brussels sources refute the idea that this will give the elections a de facto EU stamp of approval. They say that their agreement rests on the fact that the Venezuelan National Electoral Council invited a delegation. Brussels then sent a mission to see if elections could be monitored along the 2005 UN guidelines, an EU official said, pointing out that the bloc had not recognized elections held in the country last year. We go there not to legitimize the regime, but to see what is happening. Second, the official says that there is no difference in how we monitor Iraq, Peru, Pakistan or Mali. This is one of the most recognized election monitors in the world, and if our partners ask us, we will explain our logic. We don't have to justify ourselves to anyone. It is certainly true that electoral monitoring groups frequently operate in and report on polls that are far from free or fair. For example, in 2017, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights, a highly respected organization, delivered a scathing report on the Turkish independence referendum. What's different is Venezuela's comparative isolation from the West. It is arguable that even if the EU returns a highly critical report, its mere engagement in the process could be used as propaganda by Maduro. These sort of tensions between the Brussels and Washington are to some extent inevitable as the EU tries to grow its influence as a distinct global power and defender of Western values, rather than an extension of US influence.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.